Hello and welcome to the Shield Analysis. My name's Alex, and we welcome my partner in crime, Stefan. Today we're not reviewing the Shield. We're branching out on our first venture. We're reviewing a classic, the Taxi Driver, which is starring Robert De Niro, which is almost 50 years old, uh,
Ooh,
which a lot of people don't realise. And we reviewed it. I'm someone who's viewed it many times. Stefan is someone who's viewed it only recently on my recommendation. It was his recommendation that we branch out, and which I was only too willing to do. And I suggested Taxi Driver because I said it's an excellent movie. You should watch it. For many reasons. And of course, upon watching it, he realised why I recommended it.
man. Yeah. No, absolutely, man. Couldn't. Hey, well put. Yeah, I'm. What do they call it? I've been sleeping under a rock this whole time, or however you want to phrase it. But yes, I've heard of the movie for so many years, man, and it's like I don't even want to tell people that I'm just now seeing it, but um, but no, definitely, man. I think I gave you the metaphor earlier, man. It's like popping open that wine bottle after 30, 40 years. It's been sitting on the shelf, and it was well worth the wait. I mean, that's like, damn, my whole life I've been missing out on this. What? So and it's crazy. I know no one's gonna believe that I just now saw Taxi, but yeah, I'm just now seeing Taxi, man. Like, it's first time ever. So
Uh, and a wine is a good analogy because it's something that's aged well and just seems to get better with age. I find.
well, clearly, because the main reason why I'm just now watching it is because I mean, it is from the 70s. I was born in 86. I guess it's not that far off, but when you're talking about just movies in my genre, and all the other stuff, it makes sense why, I wouldn't deviate back and go see a movie. Let's see. In 2000, I was still a teenager, so it wouldn't make sense for me to go back and kind of, deviate to a movie that was 30 years ago. But like you said, it aged perfectly, man. It was, for a movie that was, like you said, 50 years almost at this point, it's aged perfectly. I could watch it again. Um, some movies are just kind of like, they kind of stay in that era. You know what I mean? Like, they were good at that time. And then as, time moves on, you know, you, you try to show it to
Yeah,
your hell is this?
yeah, and and Taxi Driver is a perfect example of that. I mean, I remember seeing it very first. I was about 13, 14 when I very first saw it back in the 90s, and obviously liking it for different reasons at that age to what I'd like it now. But I find, back at that, I obviously Robert De Niro's uh, performance in it. He plays, I think we were saying, a part of all of us that we're not necessarily proud of. And I was bringing up to you earlier that I watched quite a few other reviews where people are like, oh, Travis, he's got PTSD, or Travis, loneliness has turned him into this monster. But none of that, but I've found that none of that's actually confirmed. And I find that maybe my theory on that would be that perhaps they find themselves empathizing with Travis, and then they don't want to empathize with him because they don't want to relate to him too strongly. They don't want to admit they're too much like him.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I wasn't really, well, for one, I don't think they really showed too many like clips of his past, you know what I mean? Like, as far as why he even had PTSD, or why people are, I mean, we know obviously he was in the military at some point, but yeah, I just, that the PTS thing, I took it more as like, my man's in New York, hey, he's had enough, he's a cab driver, you know what I mean? Maybe little traits of his past, maybe, in the military, but no, I just took it as just, I didn't make excuses for him. I thought he was just another person who had enough, lost his shit, you know. And pretty much, man, started wilding out, as they say, really, I think once he couldn't get that girl, I forget her name. But the love interest, once he couldn't get the love interest, and to him, he's just a normal guy. So he's not understanding the reject, why, he's just a normal dude. He's trying to make amends out of things. Same thing with Jodie Foster. He's trying to get her out of the life, and clearly that's not what she wants. So, it's kind of like, man, what's the better terminology here? It'd be like you trying to do the right thing, for everyone, but then there's always this backfires,
Yeah, and I find that Travis gets slowly absorbed into that kind of cesspool that he's in, because I notice at first he's responding with disgust or awkwardness on his own level, like when the guy gets in his cab, and he's saying, "Oh, my wife's up there fucking this guy,"
Oh yeah.
or when the first time Iris gets into his cab. And he does kind of react with shock and awkwardness. He doesn't know how to behave. But
you're right.
Without realizing that over time he becomes on the same level. He graduates to the same level as those people.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And like the thing that kind of was interesting is the fact that and this is what I mean, that, a part of us, we, show sign, a little piece of that character, where he kind of contradicts himself, man, where, no, and I did look, hey, I stole this from a comment. I read this in a little comment, it just caught my eye, but it got me thinking though, it was saying that, he talks about from now on, he's going to work out, he's going to, he's dedicating his life to taking care of himself, he's gonna do all this stuff, but then later on, we still see him doing he's still popping the. It could have been something else. I thought he was still popping drugs. I think, right? He's popping I don't know what
something.
Huh?
I don't know if it's speed or what. I don't know. It's some powder. Yeah, he's doing something.
It was something. And then just the mentality, man. It was just trash thinking. He pretty much contradicted himself, pretty much like how we do, man. We do it all the time, to certain degrees. And I find that interesting, though, what I'm saying, because I remember I told you I was so pumped up. I told my boy, look, hey, first timer, man, seeing the movie. So, the scene where he says, from this point on, no more putting pollutants in my body. It'll be 50 push-ups, 50 pull-ups. And I'm getting pumped. I'm like, damn, I gotta go do my pull-ups. And then, as you watch the movie, it's like, oh man, what? This dude's still like, he's not doing what he said he was doing. He's contradicting himself, and that makes the character more realistic.
Yeah, because he's flawed. He's just like
it would have been different.
He's flawed, just like anyone else. He's
someone else. It would have been different if they took the Hollywood route and, he said, all right, 50 push it. Now we see him kind of rising and it's like, okay, well, but we still see him stumbling. You know what I'm saying?
And it wouldn't have been real. Yeah. And which adds that degree of realism as well. That he doesn't, it's not, he's with all the resolve, he's still going to stumble to get there at best.
Yeah.
And I found as well, like it's an interesting question you can ask, because there's so much of it's open to interpretation. Like you're saying, Travis's past, where's he come from? Does he have PTSD or doesn't he? What does his military? What about his family? Is he got a messed up family background that's made him into this person, or and also he's, because at one point he's almost this political assassin.
Yeah, right.
His life just so easily could have taken that other route where he becomes, he finishes a hero, he finishes the movie a hero, but it just as easily could have been that he was a villain.
Yeah. That's kind of how they maybe I should have watched it one more time, but everything is pretty much, oh damn, my phone fell. Pretty much everything is still stuck. I just remember at the end, he, like you said, he's kind of, we're leaning towards a hero now, But I forget what he does or he says at the end, man, or but it just kind of leaves you to believe like, all right, now this dude's still like, oh, he's out of
Mm.
his shit a little bit,
Again, it's really only open to interpretation, though. It's just kind of his body language more that gives it away, that makes you feel shit. This guy's still not on the level. He's still like a loose cannon, ready to, you know.
Yeah, because even at the end, well, hey, spoiler alert, y'all, spoiler alert, but hey, it's 50 years ago. If y'all, hey, if I'm spoiler alerting this, man, hey, y'all need to get from underneath that rock. But yeah, even at the end, he didn't speak to her. I think when she got back in the cab, he didn't. I don't think he spoke to her, or he wasn't advancing upon her like he was before.
Yeah,
I'm talking about what's her name? Was it
Betsy.
Ivory?
Betsy.
Oh, Betsy. Though his love interest, right?
Yeah. Sybil Shepherd's character. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Betsy. Even when she got back in the cab at the end, he just was like, yeah, like, oh, you gonna be on me now? He was kind of like, I'm not even tripping on you no more. Yeah, so I don't know. I didn't know what to make from that. I just took it as he's kind of moved on and he's kind of like, in his own space. I don't know, but um, which actually kind of like that's why I said I have to see it again. But I don't know if I misinterpreted it wrong, but it kind of just told me that maybe he is kind of normal again. He's not the girl that he flipped out. This whole girl that kind of sparked all this. Now she's back in his back seat and he's just
in the rear view mirror, like kind of.
Yeah, there you go in the rear view mirror. Hey, bro, well said, man. Looking in the rear view mirror.
Yeah. And to me, it makes me ask, what quite is normal? Or any of us, we like to think there's, because like I was saying, we like to think there's a normal and there's a dangerous person, but any of us, I think, could be, someone dangerous, maybe. We're not that different. Like I say, we look at Travis and like 50 years ago, we've got this perspective nowadays of this we diagnose everything and say it's a disorder, it's a psychosis, it's a whatever, but maybe it's just being human. Maybe that a few bad circumstances can push someone into becoming someone they wouldn't otherwise be.
No, that excellent point, man. Excellent point. We sit here and try to break down Robert De Niro's psychology and this and that, but you're right, man. It could just be the simple things, man. Like you said, just a person that has had enough. Back in back in the 1800s, man, they were like, they would set people on fire or burn them at the stake just because they had a seizure. They thought they were possessed or something. So I think that's a brilliant point, man. Maybe in another 50 years they'll have an answer to what that really was. And like, oh yeah, man, half of Earth's population is like that. No one was schizophrenic. They just had to go, do this. It would have been different. So that's a great point though, man. That's a great point. I didn't see him like towards the end. I started seeing him less and less for some reason, man. But I started seeing him less and less. It's crazy, like, because you just look at everything else going on. When he's talking to Jodie Foster, he's adamant about trying to get her out that life. You know what I mean? And
and I mean, I'm sure you was on kind of the same level. I very much I was kind of with him in his desire to get her away from that life. Like, when he's saying, like, what's the matter with you? You live in this fucked up, existence. And I remember watching it kind of from a less restrained view when I was younger, thinking, when he goes on this rampage and thinking, as a teenager, I was like, I'd love to, go on and getting revenge on people you hate and be like, just blowing them away.
He had everyone saying, man, you talking to me? You talking to
Yeah.
me?
Yeah.
And just the mere fact, again, bro, I don't mean to repeat myself, but just the mere fact that I didn't know what that meant. Like I heard it all my life. I've even done it a couple of times. I mean, you talking to me? But I'm like, man, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, man, it came from one of the most popular movies ever, man. So there's no surprise there. Um, same thing with the Scarface quotes, man. There's been so many quotes floating around, but that one right there, you talking to me, I feel like you were bringing it up earlier. That not only do people repeat it, but it's been in other movies. It's been in cartoons. It's been in, TV shows.
It's one of those things that's just like it's like a I'm trying to think now, like a bedrock really of our culture.
Like what?
It's become like a bedrock of our culture. Like other things are built up upon.
Yeah. So it's yeah, man, it's a trip. But I'm definitely glad. I'm glad I saw it, and again, I feel like it's an accomplishment, man, because I'm born in '86, and there's good movies, man. Not saying that there's not good movies in the '70s, just I don't know of a lot of them. So the fact that I was able to sit through Taxi and enjoy it and comprehend it and want to see it again is pretty impressive for me. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking there's another good movie to compare it to character-wise from the 70s was The Offense. In the sense, without spoiling it, you've got a similar situation in that you've got a main character that's not very sympathetic, yet people still relate to the character. And I know, I mean, I've had it a few times where I've made comments on YouTube and places like that, and people responded with hostility in defense of the main character, despite
what movie? What's it called?
The Offense, the one I was saying with Sean Connery, where he beats the guy to death in interrogation.
Oh, hey, I was telling my dad about it. I couldn't figure out the name of the movie. I was telling him the same thing. I'm like, yeah, it's a movie with Sean Connery. He's a police officer. He beats some dude to death. And my dad, that's all. He's a Sean Connery guy. My dad is 75. You know what I mean? So
no, he'll love that movie because it's quite a plain old movie, but it's without getting too off a Taxi Driver, but it's the same sort of principle. Like Sean Connery's character, at best, he's a really messed up guy, and he doesn't really excite any sympathy. Yet people, notice, I think, because it's Sean Connery as well. When you notice a lot of people's comments, they're like, "Oh, cut the guy a break." He's had 20 years on the job. He needs, his bosses are, they're making an infinite number of excuses for this guy and what he's done. He's, and all the reasons he might have beat this guy to death. Without saying, "Oh, hang on a minute," this, because I won't spoil it too much, but basically he beats a guy who he suspects is guilty to death. So he's guilty of beating an innocent man to death. Yet they want to explain it away. People has this power to make people want to explain it away and say, "I'll cut the guy a break." You only beat an innocent guy to death. When you're looking at people's comments on YouTube and places like that. And it's the same kind of thing with Travis Bickle. People were like, "Oh, well, he only went on a wild rampage armed with 6 guns and a knife and killed 3 people and stabbed someone."
He's a product of society or a victim of society or whatever they want to call it. But no, with him, yeah, man, it's just and I want to see it again too, man, just to get that final review on it. But nah, man, I made up my mind on it, and I've come to the conclusion that again, it wasn't PTSD. It was just he was just fed up. Not justifying any of his actions and none of that, but I feel like though when you say PTSD, now we do make an excuse for it. It's just kind of a cheap route, a cheap way of saying like, oh, that's why he did it. He has PTSD.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
yeah, and
it's
which
just
is I'm glad, which is why I'm glad that was never confirmed, because were it confirmed, it would be that get out clause for him, wouldn't it? He doesn't where he
yeah.
shouldn't get that get out clause. Maybe not, but he shouldn't be confirmed so that because it's not an excuse. Even if he has got PTSD, it's no excuse to
Yeah,
go to behave
yeah,
like that.
right.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, shoot, that movie may be able to wield out like all the psychos and stuff. Like, just watch this movie and let's see what you think of it, man. You think this guy's normal? If so, you're probably a psycho. Like you're justifying his actions. No, I'm playing, but it is true though, man. Not to steer too off topic, but I was listening. Walton Goggin, who plays Shane in The Shield, and he was saying that even after the season was done, people were coming up to him like, "Hey, yeah, we love your character, man, and you played this and that." And Shane or Walton, he said he was looking at those people like, he'd accept his flowers, but he's looking like, "Oh, these people are fucking crazy, man. Like, you like that character, like you." That's what you worship? Okay, let me steer away from you. That's what he said. That was Walton Goggin. So
Yeah,
it's
no, I can
not
understand. Yeah,
so
because
we have people that relate.
what does that say about them that they, that they sympathize, that excites their sympathy,
Right. So same thing with Taxi, man. All these people saying, oh well it's PTSD and it's like, man, don't really justify it, but hey. Hey, it makes for a good movie though, man. The movie was excellent, man. I gotta say it again. The movie was excellent. That shit was crazy. The beginning was a little bit slow,
Yeah.
but once you figure out what's going on, it's like, all right, I gotta see what happens next.
And it's the way the violence. I think the violence in it, it's so gruesome.
Gritty. It's gritty, yeah.
Yeah, like the way I think he blows the fingers off the one hand and then kind of stabs him through the stump or something like,
Oh yeah, the hotel owner or the Bravo owner or whatever, the brothel owner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? 1 minute he's just his hands up and his fingers just disappear. It's like, damn, Yeah, the killing in there was kind of grisly. It's like real. I can only imagine what it looked like back in the day, man. Like how people proceeded back then. But yeah, even by today's standards, it's like, whoa, all right, damn. You know what I mean? Yeah, that shit was just bloody.
And I think he reflected like that world as well, like that kind of dark. Because I don't know, like I don't know about you, but like when he's driving around in this dark kind of underworld of the city, and you see people like the pimp, like Iris's pimp, and you're like, this guy gets by like, pimping out this 12-year-old girl or whatever, taking the money, taking them that she earns, or charging these, like, this is probably something that goes on all over the world, like, and it just gives you like I don't know, it gave me like a kind of sense of hopelessness, to think like that the world's this dark, evil place,
Yeah, it's this dark, grimy city, and there's like, yeah, there's no hope. It's almost I bring it up again, King of New York. I was telling you that too. It's just it's like a Gotham City type setting, man. It's like it's dark. It's the cops seem like they don't care. They're dark. Even when the dude got shot in the liquor store, remember he killed he was killing the black dude that was trying to rob the what do you call it, the store owner or whatever.
Yeah.
You could just, well, he even said it, but you could tell, which is crazy. That guy was in King of New York, but you can tell though he was just like, oh man, this is the 5th one this week, man. No worry, we'll sweep it up. And it's like, damn, it was like, yo, like a wild dog had ran in there or something. It's just like, yo, how often does this shit happen? He wasn't even thinking call the police right away. He's just like, yeah, let me clean this up a little bit and You know,
Mm.
so it just kind of shows you, man, like just that the mentality that's compared to right now. I mean,
Mm.
bro, you know, someone robs a store and gets killed, you know, that's kind of breaking news. That's like everything that stops. So I feel
Mm.
like, you know, in that setting back then, it was kind of like, you know, it's just like another day, man, another moment.
Well, a different mentality as well. We wouldn't have had the CCTV and, well, we might have had a fraction, a very small fraction of the surveillance footage that you have now. But now, you know, nowadays everything's on footage from beginning to end. The guy walks in, so you know, so that guy who owns the store probably frames it a certain way, and you know, as well, like the police as well. The police would have had, are going to have to write up every action of, you know,
Run
from
the
when they
report.
arrive to when they leave.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was just a different time, I guess. But it, like you said, though, it's like a sense of hopelessness. You know, because it's just like, damn, this is the city of damn, man, they always paint New York like that. It's like it's like a city of hopelessness, man. Like, geez, you know. Yeah, even in like movies with LA, where it's old LA, you know, 70s, 80s, you know, it was still grimy and messed up, but it was still some type of hope, man. Like this, the whole city wasn't like that. It's like, you know, but wait, where was that at in Taxi? That was Brooklyn, right?
I think so. I just know it's New York. I've never been New York, so
Yeah, I've been in New York like one time.
yeah.
Um, and I was like 8 years old, man. But no, it's yeah, it's just interesting, man. You know, I feel like the character fit the city. You know, you couldn't have that character in, you know, Nebraska or anywhere else, man. You know, I felt like it even in LA, man, I don't think it would have worked in LA. I think that
No.
was it wasn't just about the character, but it was about the environment too. You know what I mean? The environment and the character kind of, I don't know if that makes sense. Um, like the
Yeah, because
environment.
I was going to say, because I know it's other movies have done that. A lot of it takes place at night. Would probably majority of them. I think that movie takes place 3/4 or more is nighttime. You know,
Yeah,
it just
yeah,
kind of adds to that, to the dark, grimy atmosphere.
yeah. I know, 100%, 100%. Um, now I was gonna add something else to it too. Let's see. There's a part I want to say with there was more with the pimp, with the pimp. Um, there was something with the pimp. I don't know what I was gonna get at with Robert De Niro, but even like, well, whatever. Even when he kills, like I said, the guy in the liquor store, um, you know, I think at that point it was kind of like a itch, man. It was like an itch, you know. I don't think it was something that he had to really think out. I think it was like he was just it was something he wanted to do. He couldn't wait to, what I want to say, to kind of you know, to bust that nut almost, you know. He he you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
he
He's kind of just breaking it, like cutting his teeth on for the big, like a practice run for the big
first
thing
taste of
that he's
blood.
done. Yeah, yeah.
First taste of blood, man. So it um yeah, man. I just think that that guy, that the guy, man, that's kind of what he wanted to do, man. He was kind of like, you know, he was waiting to have a reason to kind of, you know, to get his first victim, pretty much. Yours, but then we can't say that because if he's been in the military, you know, then you know, how many kills did he have in the military? So it we don't even know if that was his first kill. You
No,
know,
no.
you know, and the fact that he did it with ease, you see, he just walked up to him and shot him. So it kind of tells you, all right, well, he didn't have to think about
Yeah,
this.
yeah. No, that's true. The body language. I never thought of that, but the body language gives so much away there because he's kind of like, you know, it's just kind of like looks rehearsed and looks like it's not a big deal to him
Yeah,
to kill.
I think he called him. He said, "Hey, boom," you know. So it, yeah, he's definitely done that before. He's done that before. Um, but yeah, man, just my overall take though. You know, again, I think it, you know, it's a well, you know, developed film, you know, from character development, man, to great plot, all that. I can't believe I'm seeing it again, man. 50 years later, bro. That's wild. It's yeah, that's crazy,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. No,
So
I know there's movies like from the 90s that haven't aged that well, let alone 50 years old, and it's still like I say, because I think it's the psychology of it's relevant. Like guys relate to it, guys watch it, and they feel like that because he's kind of like a wannabe Cape Crusader. Like he gets his thing ready to go out and save the day.
that's the key part, bro. That's what I was gonna bring up. So at the end, now I don't know, you seen the movie, man, like 50 years ago, bro. I've just now seen it. But at the end, after he does the whole shooting in the hotel, I thought right there he was fucked. Like there's you can't talk your way out of this. You know what I mean? Like you're done at this point. Not only that, I thought he was dead. But put that to the side. But crime wise and all that stuff, I thought that he had kind of he was done. He was gonna be in jail. If he did survive this, he's in jail the rest of his life, whatever. And then the next article is, a local hero. And then you have to think about the setup, what did he just shoot up, who he just shot up, his reasoning behind it. And it's like, all right, damn, I guess he is kind of like an anticlimactic hero, or, however you want to phrase that, bro. But I guess my point is I didn't see that coming. I didn't see the hero part at the end. So I think that's kind of what made it, that put that touches on it, that made it a great film.
Yeah, I think you put the suggestion in there, Boris, when you said about the Gotham City atmosphere, and I didn't think of it. Yeah, you kind of put that suggestion there to me, and I thought, yeah, he's kind of like wanting to, don the cape and save the day all along.
Yeah. Yeah, there was another movie like that too, bro. But yeah, same concept though, man. He put on the cape, he thinks he's doing right, and it's it's just like, man, you just pretty much fought fire with fire, I don't want to steer away from it, but I think kind of like, maybe we see a little bit of Mackie, at some points we think he believes he's doing the right thing. He really believes he's doing the right thing, but he's not. That's just some type of self, what do you call it? Some kind of self-correction, or I don't know how to word that, man, articulate that. But same thing with Robert D, man, with his character, man. He, again, that's why with the scene with the girl, he believes that, all right, let me get this girl out of here, and maybe all this can be right. If I can get her out of this environment, because there's no reason for him to try to rescue that girl, other than she got into his taxi cab in the beginning. He thought she was being kidnapped, but there's really no reason for him to be that adamant about rescuing that girl. You know what I mean? It's like, what's the reason?
Maybe it's the he knows he's got all this violent urge. It's got to go somewhere. It's got to put it to some good use, I would say, perhaps.
Yeah, because even when she tells him, hey, I'm good, I was just tripping that day, he's still like, no, this is, you're not supposed to be saying this, like he can't believe it. You know what I mean?
I'm going to save you whether you want to be saved or not.
Yeah, right. You're going to take this saving. You're going to take this rescue. So, yeah, again, man, and we see it time after time, kind of, where people kind of try to force that rescue or that hero role onto someone else. And it's like they drive themselves crazy, either trying to save a person, you know what I mean? Until they either just say fuck it or they just snap.
Yeah.
So that's just I don't know. That's my opinion on it, man. But I don't. You may have a different take on it.
No. I get what you're saying, because people got to save themselves often, haven't they? you know, like,
Right.
and if they don't want to be, rescued, they're going to find someone else. You know, I mean, how long is it going to take that girl to find another pimp who's willing to use and abuse her? You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, and I don't know if that guy, this has probably nothing to do with nothing, but at the end where the dad is writing, and spoiler alert, y'all, again, spoiler alert, by the way, you know, the dad was writing a thank you letter to Robert D. And again, I may be reaching here, man, but it sounded like the dad was kind of slow. Like, you know, he's writing a letter to, maybe it's because he's reading out loud, but he's writing a letter to, you know, to Robert D, thanking him, you know, hey, I forget how it went, man, but he was just saying, no, our daughter is good now. She's at home. She went back to school. So I just took it as maybe the dad was maybe molesting her. I don't know, man. Maybe I kind of overreached it, but
well, I don't know. Yeah, I think that's, again, that'd be open for interpretation. I mean, maybe the parents are slow, and that's what's led to the girl running away. We're opening it for our own. That's down to our interpretation, you know. But
yeah. You're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. That's But again, you got to think, man. I'm just seeing the movie for the first time, man. So it's like, bro, I got a gang of questions, man, and just and I'm gonna watch it again.
And like I say, so much is open to interpretation. When you see the offence, again, there's a lot. It's got so much in common that so much is open to interpretation. Like you know, like I won't spoil it, but you know, like, is anything? You know, so many questions are left open at the end of it. So you know.
You talking about the offense?
Yeah, it's the same kind of thing, you know. Like you asking a lot of questions about Sean Connery's character, the suspect who's killed. You know, he's not like someone you like, but he's never actually confirmed guilty, despite the fact he's been killed. You know, you don't like him. I doubt. Well, you might like him, but I doubt you'll like him. You know, and yet so many people are like, yeah, man, that fucking piece of shit deserved it. She was right to kill him. And you're like, yeah, but no one confirmed the guy was guilty. You know, he volunteers to be questioned, comes in to be questioned, and like gets all this verbal abuse, and then ends up, he's like, you know, he keeps back chatting the cops, right? Or back chatting Sean Connery, which is what leads to him being killed. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got too much. He's one of these guys who's got too much to say for himself. He's got too, you know, and but you know, does he? You know, all right, guy's got a big mouth, but does he deserve to die for it? You know,
yeah. I see what
he's
you're saying.
a lot of things, you know, but he's not, you know, but he's not. We don't know he's guilty of what's happened.
Okay. But for sure, Sean Connery did the beating.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that bit we do know. Yeah. That's the one thing. That's the one point we do start out from.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I have to double back. I have to double back on that one. What do you call it? Yeah, man. Probably the same type of deal, though. You know, it's as far as with the character. Yeah, man, it's, you know, and I like movies like that. They're left to interpretation. You know, yeah, I was gonna say maybe most movies end like that, but nah, they don't. You know, but it's like you said, it's up to you know, that interpretation factor. You know, Taxi, man, we can interpret it all day long, man. Who this guy was, you know, what he was doing in the military, what happened at the end, you know, who is he gonna go on to become, you know, why that girl did, you know, there's you know, that's cool. You know, I rather that than movies that leave a lot of questions open. You know what I mean? Like, well, what happened to so and so? That's normally called a bad movie when you have holes in the plot. Like if you
if something's, I suppose, there's open to interpretation, and there's a flip side of that would be something that's just too many questions unanswered.
too many questions, man. Um, Again, I'm trying so hard not to go off topic, but we are kind of talking about the topic. I'll bring it up. There's another one called it's on Netflix. It's called Army of the Dead, I think. It's Army of the Dead. And hey, to our viewers out there, people who have maybe know what I'm talking about, it's the perfect example because maybe that's just how the movie was built, but I don't want to give too much of it away. There's just so many questions, man. Even by the end of the movie, like people, I've looked at it on Reddit, and everyone has the same questions. Well, why did this happen? What? That movie is the perfect movie for left to interpretation. There's no backstory. It's wild, man. So I know Taxi isn't along those lines, but again, some movies can pull that off and make it, that's what makes it the perfect movie. You interpret, did he die at the end? Did he go on to, did they get back together? You know what I'm saying? So it's but no, that I brought up that Army of the Dead, bro, because I've never seen a movie like that where it was almost like there was a prequel before that, but there was no prequel. It's nuts. So not really recommending it to you, man. Just trying to, you can Google it, man, and just you can read the forums on it. And yeah.
No, I mean, I think it's like to like the different way movies are made now. But nowadays, you get this, they squeeze so much out of movies. So it's a franchise. There's prequels. There's the side. There's this character. Every character's got their own spin-off movie, and sometimes I think you got to say you get something just right. You should just leave it where it is. I think.
Yeah, there. Actually, I want to say that one I was just telling you about is the Army of Dead. And then there's another one. It's a sequel. It's a spin-off to it. It's called. It's about bank heist though. It's whatever, man. But yeah, I thought they should have left that alone. Army of Dead. It's like, what? Y'all made this other spinoff. You haven't even answered all the questions from this first movie. Like, how y'all gonna make it? But yeah, man. Yeah, a lot of stuff should just be left behind. But they do. That's why I'm glad they haven't done a spinoff of The Shield, man. I'm hopefully.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
When you get something perfect, leave it.
Leave him and don't. I think Michael Chiklis was talking about at one point maybe like a movie, but it's like, man, just leave it. Just leave it. Leave it.
Especially now because it's been too long. They're too much. Everyone's too much older and moved on a bit too much.
One's in prison for the rest of his life. It's like, come on, man. But yeah, no, just leave it, man. Some things are just left. Yeah, they're left. Just leave it the way it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, definitely, man. Again, Taxi, y'all. You guys have to see it. Especially for the younger generation, man. This is coming from a person who, again, I like to think of me kind of right in the middle. As far as really, hey, anyone can see that movie, man. Just like you said, you were 15 when you saw the movie. So it's it's not only that, but for people who are, for script writers, for future people who want to make films and stuff, man. If I was teaching a film class, that's the movie I would use. Just
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's almost, I don't know, it could be a play, and it's interesting because it's kind of like it's a solo piece in many ways.
It wasn't so bloody and all that stuff, it could be a play, It could almost be, you said a play, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like, I think you could compare it to, like, I don't know if you've ever seen like Hamlet or something, like Hamlet's kind of like a solo, where he's kind of like, he's going crazy, slowly going. Well, in Hamlet's, I'm not very much into Shakespeare, but Hamlet, the kind of piece, the principle of it is, he's you're not sure if he's going crazy or not. If you've ever seen Hamlet, he's in a castle. If you're not into Shakespeare, you could see Mel Gibson's Hamlet, and in it, he's what it is. He's the Prince of Denmark. His dad, the king, has died, and his uncle has married his mum. His uncle basically wants to kill him so he can be king, because he's due to become king. And he's talking to his dad's ghost in the castle at night. And you kind of like, you got the question of, is he crazy or is he really talking to a ghost? You know, as it goes through.
Oh, that's what Hamlet is about.
Mel Gibson done a version of it. If you're not deeply into Shakespeare, it's not a bad piece. Like, because to be fair to Mel Gibson, you do kind of sympathize with the guy, because you're like, is he going crazy? You do kind of feel for him, because like he's gone through this quick succession of his father's died, his mum's remarried, this new guy's coming along trying to push him around, and he wants him out of the way as well. You can tell that, and he's losing his sanity a bit, maybe. So you do kind of sympathise with him a little.
That's what Hamlet.
That's Hamlet. Yeah, that's what it's about. Yeah. But I was to go back to what I was saying, that Taxi Driver. It's kind of like a solo piece that slowly he's getting more and more. He's getting deeper into madness. That he's building to this crescendo of, he's going to come out and face everyone and blow them away.
Yeah. I think there's like a quote or a metaphor for it or something, man, where you kind of get drawn into the abyss of the madness or something like that. I don't remember, but it's that's a good point though. That's a good point. That kind of reminds me of I could be wrong, but didn't Edgar Allan Poe do something? I think it was like The Raven or something. Same thing with the guy. I know all this stuff because my teachers forced me to read this shit, man. I have to listen to it in school.
I'll have to look that up. I've never read anything by Edgar Allan Poe.
You never heard of The Raven?
I've heard of it, but I've never read it. So
yeah, I think even the Simpsons made like the Simpsons did like a little spoof on it. The dude, same thing, going crazy. He keeps hearing this raven or something. Man, don't get me started, man. Now I'm gonna have to maybe have to peep out Hamlet because our teachers preached that to us in school. We read Romeo and Juliet. They made us read that, but they always threaten us with Hamlet. So it's like, damn, that's what Hamlet was about this whole time. The dude going crazy. I thought it was like sword fighting and some dude that's trying to, it's like a Braveheart thing.
No. It's more just this. It's all about him going. I can't even remember what happens at the end, but it's just kind of like I remember the middle of it in the journey of him losing his mind.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's interesting, man. I guess the movies and stuff that we find interesting, or at least for me, are the ones that I had the wrong. I can't say interpreted, but I had the wrong, got the wrong impression, I guess. Just like what you're talking about, Hamlet. I thought Hamlet was just some boring ass, a prince and a king and queen story. Same thing with Taxi. I thought Taxi was just some dude. I was kind of right. I mean, some dude he was just some crazy serial killer. But there's so much more than that. So it and then you can change it. And then sorry about that, man. And even with with the Shield, man, I think I've told you this 100 times. I interpreted wrong, and I saw the first episode of the Shield. Pretty much Vic killing Terry, and I was like, all right. As fast as I clicked it was as fast as I turned it off. I'm like, I'm good on this, bro. There's like no plot. This guy can do whatever he wants. This is not like this is a show that's gonna be off in like two more episodes. But You know, clearly it wasn't. So, yeah, it's always those things, man, that we always get the wrong impression on that always end up being, you know. Hopefully, I'm articulating this right, but you understand what I'm saying?
Well, there's no wrong in. I don't think there's any wrong interpretation. You know, if it feels that way for you, you can back it up from what you're saying. Who's to
No, no,
say that's wrong? You know.
no. That's what I mean. I'm talking about interpreting something that you haven't even seen. So, like, I was doing the same thing with Taxi. I'm like, damn, I haven't seen the movie, but it seems like it's
Oh.
pretty. You see, get what I'm saying?
Yeah. You can jump to the conclusion.
Assumptions, I guess. Assumptions, you know what I mean? Same thing with the shill, you know, assuming that this is going to be about this. This is why I'm not going to watch it. You know, Hamlet, you know, a boring ass play about a king and queen, but now you tell me that's not what it's even about. So it makes me interested in wanting to go see it.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
it's worth looking at.
yeah, you know. But definitely, man. Bro. I'm glad you kind of talk. You pretty much talked me into that one. You know, we were talking about movies from the '70s, and you know, you were like, man, you ain't seen Taxi. No, I haven't seen Taxi. Am I supposed to see it? But yeah, yes, I'm supposed to see it.
Yeah,
It's
no,
a
I
classic.
was kind of like, oh, you should see it once at least. You know, like it's worth it. You know?
Yeah, that gets kind of tricky, man, with movies like that. You know what I mean? You know, a movie that everyone should see at least once, and that's definitely one of them.
Yeah.
Because you know, a lot of that stuff is subjectable.
Well, where did you think about going to what movie next? Did you think? Did you want to do the offense, or did you have something else in mind?
I'm gonna finish Scum. I'm gonna finish, bro. I know I've been
Oh,
saying it,
yeah.
man. I'll finish. I promise I will finish Scum today. Dude, everything we're talking about, I started watching Breaking Bad, man. I started watching Breaking Bad, so that's it. I had to. I gotta. I'm late on that one, man. You know, it's you know, in this time and era, bro, everything is so commercialized, man, and you know, um, everything's just commercialized, man. So you know, a lot of people say this is good. You see it, and it's just like, all right, that's just another idea that's been rewritten 1,000 times. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Yeah,
not.
Mm.
repackaged, and I've never watched Breaking Bad myself, so
We'll have to like that. Well,
yeah, further down the line. But
I'm on episode 4, man, and like you know, when I tell people that, you know, I was telling my boy that I was like, man, I'm watching Breaking Bad. He's like, what? You're what? Even my mama said it. She said, Stephen, I've been told you about that, but you know, so yeah, I don't want to get too caught up in that, man. But yeah, again, man, there's a lot of things out there that people should at least see once, you know, whether it's the message, whether it's great writing, you know what I mean? Um, you know, I try to figure out why people say the same thing about Scarface. Like Scarface is a good movie, but you know, why do I have to stop what I'm doing to, you know what I mean? Like my dad said he remember when Scarface came out, him and I think him and my mom, you know, him, my mom, and I think they said my uncle, they went to go see it in the movies. And you know, he said everyone loved it. You know, it was just my mom didn't, she didn't understand it, but everyone else loved it. You know, it was just a masterpiece at its time. You know, it was an instant classic. And you know, seeing that, I'll sit here and say to you, bro, that I think Taxi is better than Scarface. I can say it with a straight face. You know, Taxi's better than Scarface. You know,
seen Scarface, so I've seen all the Godfathers. You know,
Oh, you
show
never seen
myself.
Scarface?
No, I'm not seen Scarface. Yeah, I've seen some of them. Like I've seen Spartacus. That's worth watching. You know, that's brilliant. Yeah,
You said what is it?
Spartacus. If you when you watch that,
Spartacus. Yeah, I heard of
the
Spartacus.
original. Yeah.
My dad was also telling me something about the 7 hard tops or the 7 ups,
That's the lady from Venom.
the 7 ups, I think. He said it came out in the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah, but yeah, man, but no, I just Yeah, a lot of those. Apparently, the 70s and the 80s had some pretty bloody films back then, man.
Mm.
You know, they're pretty gritty.
Definitely. Yeah, no, Scum was 79. I meant to tell you, I confirmed it. Actually, if you like, I meant to tell you, because you were saying how much you like Lock, Stock, and Snatch. If you ever watch, I think you can watch them for free on YouTube. The Sweeney. It's an old cop show from the 70s.
Sweeney?
Yeah, The Sweeney. It was an old cop show from the 70s on British TV. It was really popular. And they made...
Because I keep seeing it advertised. Oh, I see the box for it, but it looks like it's new. It don't look like it's from the 70s. It looked like
it was remade, funny enough. I never watched the remake. They remade it with the guy from Scum, funny enough. I never watched the remake though. But the originals are better. The original's better. Like, you know, it's like guys going it's two guys going around kind of like a Starsky and Hutch type thing, sort of 70s cops, you know, flared trousers and 70s cars. And they go around like, it's kind of like it's good. It's a well-written show. Like, you know, like they'll be sitting there in the pub and they drink like 6 whiskeys and they'll be like, "Quick, we've got to get to wherever. There's whatever's gone down," and like they jump in the car and drive straight there. And they've been sitting in the pub like knocking whiskeys back, you know, like.
Oh yeah, they forget. Yeah, they got distracted.
Yeah, no, they do it all the time. But funny enough, the actual show, the 2 guys who star in it were really bad alcoholics, and they
So
like they were.
What is it, a comedy or action?
No, it's an action. It's an action. It's a serious program. Like it's
Okay.
like I say, you laugh kind of by today's standards because like you know, like people don't drink and drive like that. Like it's like made in the 70s where people just sat in the bar drinking and then got straight in their car and there wasn't a big deal, you know?
Yeah. But out here, bro, I'm blown away, man. Out like as late as like the 80s or maybe the early 90s, like out here in America in LA, I saw an episode of Cops with the guy you can find on YouTube. Actually, I saw it on YouTube. The guy was like, it was a female. She was like, I think she got pulled over and she was like, I don't know if she had the open container, but she was literally drinking and driving. And the officer was more concerned with her running the stop sign. Like it never came up that she was drinking and driving. And I forget though, I guess it was illegal to drink and drive out here at some point. Either that or it wasn't enforced.
Mm.
Which is crazy, man.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, I think a lot of the comments too were talking about what a time to be alive. You know, you can crack open your beer and drive and not be harassed. I'm like, man, spoken like a true alcoholic.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
You got responsible alcoholics, man. You got people that can probably drink and drive, you know, and not run over somebody, you know, but you got ones that can't.
Yeah, but still, I wouldn't. You know, it doesn't mean the reaction times aren't slower. And you know, they're probably more capable than you and me after 6 or 7 beers, but doesn't mean their reaction times are good. You know,
good, yeah. Yeah, man. There's man, you know, just real quick, man. There's a movie called Flight with Denzel Washington.
Yeah, I've not seen it. I've heard of it. I've not seen it.
Yeah, I can't give too much of that away, man. But kind of what we're talking about right now, though, man. You know, it's how much does it affect? You know, how much does it impair you? Does it really, you know? Yeah, you've been alcoholic 30 years. You know, your tolerance is probably way above mine. You know, and you know, when it comes to you doing your job, if you miscalculate something or whatever, you know, now, you know what I'm saying? Like, it still impairs you. You know what I mean? It's still what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, it still can impair the judgment, motor skills, all that stuff. But if you get a chance to, though, man, check out Flight's pretty good. Flight's pretty good. For what we're talking.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Yeah, just it's just kind of interesting, man. Just you know, hypocrite. There we go. You know, being the hypocrite, man, and you know, even going back to Taxi, man. You know, just I think that's the word I want to use more so than contradiction, man. It's kind of you know, kind of like a hypocrite. You know, we'll sit here and judge this person. Oh yeah, they're an alcoholic. You know, they judge. You know they're doing all this or whatever. But that same person could kind of do the same thing, but in a different way. You know, maybe they're I don't know, they're addicted to themselves. They're addicted to whatever the case, man. They're not even taking care of their damn kids. Their kids are doing whatever, but they worried about what it's hypocrite, man. You know, maybe I'm using that wrong.
No, no. I mean, I brought up, like, you know, when I said, you know, people, or the hypocrisy was for me was, you know, people saying, you know, wanting to point out that what one person's doing wrong, that, you know, like when people wanting to defend when they're wanting to sympathize with Travis, yet they're not wanting to say, yeah, because I'm like him, or I feel I'm like, you know, people don't want to admit to being like him, do they? That was how I put the hypocrisy in the situation. If people don't want to admit they're, you know, maybe I'm a little bit like him, you know, because they look at him and think, well, I don't want to be, you know, I don't want to be like that guy, you know, I don't want to be a social reject. I don't want to be this reject of society, such as it is, you know.
They got similar traits. They're similar traits, and they don't want to. Yeah, you know, they don't want to admit to it. You know, especially if that character is flawed. You know what I'm saying? The character is flawed, then who wants to kind of, you know, who wants to admit to that, you know?
No.
So, yeah, we come up with these different excuses. But so when Taxi first dropped, like, how did people interpret the film when it first? I'm talking about like when it first, like in its first week in the movie theater.
I don't. To be honest, I don't know. I mean, I know. I know it inspired the guy made the assassination attempt on Reagan, didn't it?
Yeah.
John Hinckley Jr. Recently released from prison, but he stalked Jodie Foster for a time and was writing her obsessive love letters, but then made a assassination attempt on Reagan. And this is like leading up to, it's only a couple of years before the assassination of John Lennon as well.
Damn, was it that?
Yeah. It was well, different. There was someone else who shot John Lennon, but the same guy. I mean, Reagan survived the assassination attempt, and it was around the same time actually. I can't remember the year, but yeah, John Lennon was shot in 1980. I think it was 1984. Hinckley shot Reagan. It was after. It was after John Lennon. Sorry, excuse me.
You're right. Yeah, because it seems like whenever I hear about the the president's assassination attempt, Ronald Reagan, then it seems like, at least back in the day, you know, it seems like the next conversation that wasn't too far away was with John with the Beatles. No disrespect to my guy, what's his name?
John Lennon.
John Lennon, yeah, John Lennon. But I thought a female did that. I thought it was like that was or like his ex-wife or something, or
no. It's Mark Chapman. It was another fan. You know, this guy was a bit obsessed with him. He'd been hanging around outside his apartment block the day before. You know.
Hey man, hopefully we don't get those problems, man. We got these crazy fans on our show.
Yeah, hopefully not.
Yeah. It's always the fans, man. But yeah, that's kind of interesting to see what you think that was maybe inspired by Taxi.
Well, I suppose people believe it was because there's a political assassination attempt in Taxi Driver, and also the same guy who done it was stalking Jodie Foster leading up to it.
Okay.
You know? And he'd watched the movie, and you know,
Yeah, no, man, I could definitely see the I could definitely see the comparison.
Mm.
Yeah, and I could definitely see that. That's interesting, though, man. Shoot, what a time to be alive back then, man. You know, um, yeah, it's kind of wild.
Mm.
But yeah, man, I'm like I said, I'll probably, if I watch it, I mean, we'll have to do another review on it, but I will watch it again, just get a better. Again, man, this thing is 50 years. It's been floating around.
It's 50 years next year, so it's 49 years. So, but yeah, it's nearly 50 years. Yeah. So, and like I say, for younger people who haven't seen it, you should see it. And older people, you know, will have more than most certainly seen it. But yeah, it's one to watch at least once in your life. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
So
definitely,
I was gonna say, have you what did you have in mind for the next review?
Yeah, I was gonna say because I'm already halfway through on Scum, so I might as well just finish up Scum. Oh, you said it's that's 79 or 80s? Scum.
79, so it's still 70s. Yeah.
Still
So
70s,
yeah.
okay. We'll jump on Scum next because even though like I was saying before, even though Taxi was 50 years ago, it's still, it's an American film, and sure, a lot of my fellow Americans clearly have seen it, man. Even people outside the country, everyone's seen it, so that says, I guess it says a lot about the film. It's reached international, levels, but again, at the end of the day, it's still an American film. So like I said, Scum, we can just kind of bounce it back and forth, and then I'll throw you one.
Yeah.
But yeah, we could do Scum, and then if you want to do another one from the 70s, let me know. If not, we could, go up to the 80s.
Yeah, no, we'll do Scum. I'll rewatch Scum, and we can make another day. And
so do you want to cut it right now? Because now I'm about to start. I'm gonna tell you some well, kind of personal stuff, but whatever though. You can edit this part out. Yeah, we can edit it out, bro.
Cool. I'll cut it down, and we'll you go down. So,
yeah, you can.
So thank you for watching, and we'll join you again when next time we review Scum.
Yes. Please tune back in. We're gonna have, like I said, it's gonna be my first take, man. So a lot of this stuff is my first take. I've been sleeping on a lot of this stuff. So yes, you guys. My partner said, please tune in and check us out, man. We'll be back with you.
Recommend us something if you feel, So I'm sure there's plenty I haven't seen yet.
Yes, leave it and drop it in the comments, whatever. Let us know. You want us to review something? Hey, we'll see if we get around to it. Thanks for tuning in, y'all.
Thank you.